What's up, everyone? I am Brian. It is July 3rd, the day before Independence Day. I want to wish everyone out there a happy 4th of July. I am very thankful for the freedoms that we are afforded in this country, and this is one of them. So the latest and greatest deal that I have secured arrived today, the day before the 4th of July holiday. So my wife and my new daughter are going to be taking this down to see her grandparents for the first time. And the thing about this vehicle is it takes a road trip and turns it into just an adventure. It takes the simplest things and just gives it this sense of occasion. I only drove 5-10 minutes from my house to this spot to shoot this video, and I can tell you it's just so much more fun and interesting to be in a vehicle like this than it is to be in, say, our Audi Q5 or our Porsche Cayenne. So this vehicle, I'm blown away. I knew what I was buying. It took a month and a half to 2 months to secure, and when it arrived in person, it was even better than I thought it was gonna be. This is an amazing deal, but really it's not even just about the deal aspect. It's about buying a vehicle sight unseen and that whole process, and what really turned into getting to know someone, the owner on the other side, and just doing a deal that was mutually beneficial, where I feel like I made a new friend in North Carolina now. So in terms of this deal, if you saw the DCU video I made, you know that the Kelley Blue Book on this vehicle is about $47,000 stock, and I paid about 15% over Kelley Blue Book to be able to secure this vehicle. I threw in an extra $4,000 for a lot of the accessories. So we're talking $52,500 for the actual truck, $56,500 out the door with all the stuff. And I had to assess what it had based on the images because the seller just did not know. But I think I had a pretty good sense of what I was getting into, and I think actually seeing it in person, it is even better than I had anticipated. So we'll get some close-ups while I'm talking, but in terms of the build out, just front to back. So we have these crazy large hooks on the front. A Warren winch. We got a couple other KC, I believe, flex lights in front. It even has RCV axles. How freaking cool is that? We have crazy RPM steering, 2.5-ton steering up front. We have a King coilover suspension that I believe is Evo manufacturing based, along with the anti-rock sway bars, 38-inch Mickey Thompson Baja Pro XS tires, it has the Nemesis fender flares front and rear, just absolutely gorgeous. We have Expedition 1 rock guards on the side. We have a lot of moto belt protection, front bumper, rear bumper, side rocker panels. We got the KC Highlight light bar up top. A TerraFlex Alpine IR long arm suspension that's coupled with the Evo manufacturing coilovers. A Moto-built tire carrier on the rear with a full-size spare. And then you might actually notice here that these wheels with this setup, they're not beadlocks. Well, guess what? There is an extra set of 5 rims in the back that are KMC beadlock wheels. Up top, we have the CVT overlanding tent, and we actually have a couple of those tracks that help you get out of places if you're stuck. I didn't know that was up there as well. This is a Rubicon model, so it has the Dana 44s along with the front and rear lockers. And really, this thing is just purpose-built, ready to go. It's got 25,000 miles on it. And the coolest part is actually, it doesn't appear to really have been beaten up off-road. In fact, it is in what I personally would consider excellent condition, which is amazing for something that's built out like this. Because when you have something fully built like this, short of, Dana 60 axles, you would think that whoever built it would want to actually try enjoying it on some rocks, go rock crawling, run some trails. There is no sign that this thing has run anything difficult in its life. It even has a blacked out trail rated Jeep sign. So that's the other thing about this build, is it's cohesive. It's not just a bunch of bolt-on parts. The person who built this went for kind of a black and silver theme. Blacked out car, silver polished aluminum parts, and it just looks fantastic. It also has an AFE exhaust on it. I know because I was concerned about getting this thing smogged in California. I wanted to make sure it had a catalytic converter. I heard a video of it started and I thought, oh man, that might not have cats. Lo and behold, it turns out it does have cats, but it also has an aftermarket exhaust to boot. If I had to guesstimate, just ballpark, total parts into this thing, there's probably $30,000 worth of extra kit. And from a price point perspective, we're talking $47,000 to $52,500, $56,000 with all the accessories included. Really, this is a steal of a deal to be able to enjoy with my family. And so that kind of gets to the deal portion of this that I kind of wanted to talk about and how I actually find something like this. Because deals are out there. People sell to dealerships all the time. In fact, for a private party sale that we had of my wife's car, we were very intentional about making sure it got into the hands of someone that was personally going to use and enjoy it. And we made a little bit more than if we would have taken it to a dealer, but the person got a very significant discount from retail if they picked it up off of a dealer lot. The person that owned this vehicle owned a detail shop, owns a detail shop, just an incredible human being. I don't want to throw his name out there for privacy considerations, but if he's watching this, just the most honest person that you could ever imagine, which is really important when you're buying a vehicle sight unseen from across the country. In fact, he's the reason that I felt comfortable buying this 2,700 miles away without putting actual eyes on it. On his Instagram, his detail shop, he's got a picture of his work truck, and it is pristine. Then he says, this thing has 340,000 miles. Not bad for 340,000 miles. No kidding. I've never seen a vehicle hit 340,000 miles and look like it was showroom floor new. So I knew from seeing that and from interacting with this guy many times over the course of basically a month and a half that he was absolutely trustworthy and that I could buy this thing sight unseen. Some people just don't have the time to list vehicles for sale and deal with that whole hassle. And if you're selling something like this, you really need to have a full build sheet so that people know what they're getting, and you need to be patient to find the right buyer. Well, he's running a business. He actually had to take over his father's business, and he just did not have the time or bandwidth to fit selling this vehicle into his schedule. In fact, he did try to sell it at auction once, and I figured that out in doing some Google searches, and he said it didn't sell at auction because an airbag light was on, because they took the seats out when this vehicle went to SEMA, and when they put the original seats back in, they forgot to plug in the airbag sensor. So thank goodness for whoever failed to plug that airbag sensor back in, because this thing would have sold at auction otherwise, and I would be out of luck. The other thing about finding this deal, it really is about being as patient as possible if you're willing and you have sort of the time to hunt, which I do. I found a Jeep local to myself listed at $55,000, down from $70,000, that was not as nice as this, but it was also on a King coilover suspension setup. So similar ballpark type of vehicle, not nearly as many bells and whistles as this in the end. It was listed at $55,000, down from $70,000, and it sold in the span of a weekend, which I'm not surprised. That is a steal of a deal out here on the West Coast. And I told myself that I'm just gonna be patient and find the next deal. So I did see some vehicles come across my way, some that were fully built. A JK, in fact, listed at $60,000, and I actually thought that was a steal, and I was very tempted to buy that too, but I actually didn't. I told myself I was gonna wait, I was gonna hold off for as good a deal as what I had found or better. And then I found this listed on Facebook Marketplace out of North Carolina. I don't even know how I found this listed out of North Carolina. I searched cars.com, Craigslist, Car Gurus, Auto Trader. I mean, I scavenged the whole nation, and I'm patient enough to wait for the right deal. But how I stumbled on a single Facebook Marketplace listing out of North Carolina with this vehicle, I have no idea. And in the end, the ad basically just said 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, lots of extras, call me for more details. And I glossed over it the first time. The initial photo didn't have any doors on the vehicle. It looked nice, but honestly, I told myself I was never gonna buy a black car again, because black is gorgeous when it's clean, but it is so hard to keep clean and so hard to maintain and keep looking nice. Plus it gets hot. I told myself never again. So this was already X'd out because of that. I also wanted a Rubicon with the leather seats. This has the cloth. I had X'd it out because of that. But when I circled back to it, I decided, you know what? This thing is a lot nicer than I'm giving it credit for, and the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, I realized after I initially saw the listing, is an engine upgrade. And so I came back around to this idea that this could be, in fact, great. I had a lifted Jeep, a JK on 35s, and it got 12.5 miles to the gallon. So if I can get an upgraded engine with a mild hybrid technology, stop, start, and save fuel so that maybe I'm getting 16 miles to a gallon instead, that would just absolutely be amazing, because gas costs $5 a gallon, 20 to 30% extra distance. Just from driving it here, I can tell you, normally I hate stop-start technology, but with the big wheels and tires, it kind of smooths everything out. So to be stopped at a light and then use electric power to get moving, get momentum, and then the engine kicks in, it's been seamless, which is fantastic. So overall, I've only driven this a couple miles for a couple minutes, but I am absolutely in love with this thing. Thank you so much to the seller if you're watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna hold on to this and enjoy the crap out of it. it went to a good home, I promise you that. And that's about all I've got for this one, although if you're watching, I want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you think about the car? What do you think about the deal? Help me figure out modifications from here. These tires are not going to be good on the road, so I'm thinking I'm going to swap these tires over to the beadlocks, and then I'm going to put some highway compliant tires on these wheels so that I can kind of decide which wheels and tires to run depending on what type of trip I'm planning to be on. I don't even know what PSI these things are supposed to be. I mean, I can Google it, but like if I'm gonna go on a highway trip, what sort of pressure do I run in 38s? I don't know. I gotta do this research before I leave. But if someone out there knows, hit me up in the comments just so I get another thing checked off my list before we hit the road. So whenever I shoot one of these videos, it's easy to be a little remiss and forget something you had definitely wanted to bring up. In this case, I need to thank my most gracious, most understanding wife. She knows we used to have a lifted Jeep, and with the daughter, I can't take her in the McLaren. I really don't think I should be taking her around in the convertible 911. So I needed a fun daddy-daughter vehicle, and I can't think of anything better than this to fit the bill. When I think about this car, it's not just how cool it is, it's about all of the amazing adventures that we're now going to have as a family. I also have to thank some friends, Everett and Sung, for helping me secure the transport to get this amazing vehicle here. It definitely was a process, and without their help, I would not have been able to pull this off. So thank you both very much. I really appreciate it. And I think that's it. It's time to unload this thing and get going on our summer adventure. That's all I've got for now, but there will be a lot more videos on this Jeep and the adventures we take. I'll provide some detailed reviews over some of the components that are installed on this thing. So if you're interested, feel free to subscribe to the channel for those updates. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Happy Independence Day, and I will see you at the next one soon.